Single dad helped poor boy asked to sing at school as a joke. Her voice left the room shocked. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the cracked pavement of Jefferson Middle School, where laughter and chatter spilled out like waves from the closing doors. 12-year-old Ethan Brooks shuffled through the throng, his shoulders hunched beneath a worn jacket too big for his frame. His sneakers, scuffed and patched, whispered stories of many miles walked alone. He was nearly at the school exit when a sneering voice cut through the noise. "Hey, music man, ready to make us all laugh at the talent show?" sneered a boy from the corner. Ethan's heart stuttered, but he kept his eyes fixed on the ground. The group of kids circled him, familiar faces, strangers in kindness, mocking his quiet nature and the hope he barely dared to hold. "You're on the list, man," a girl said with a smirk, holding up a crumpled flyer. "Talent show star? Yeah, right. Bet you can't even sing." Laughter erupted, sharp and cruel, slicing through the humid air. Ethan swallowed hard, his throat dry, his dreams trembling beneath the weight of their jeers. Just as the taunts began to close in, a rumble broke through the scene. The roar of a pickup truck pulling up beside the group. Jake Lawson, a single father known in the neighborhood for his quiet strength, stepped out, his eyes locking onto the circle around Ethan. Without a word, Jake moved forward, his presence cutting through the noise like a knife through fog. "Back off." Jake's voice was calm but firm. The crowd faltered, caught off guard by the unexpected defender. Ethan looked up, surprise flickering in his eyes, as hope stirred for the first time in a long while. Maybe this time someone would hear his voice, not the laughter. Jake's steady gaze never wavered as he stepped between Ethan and the circle of mocking faces. "You don't have to prove anything to them," he said softly, kneeling down to Ethan's level. "Not today, not ever." Ethan's chest tightened. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. It wasn't pity or empty words. It was genuine care. The boy's fingers trembled slightly as he clutched the crumpled flyer, his voice barely a whisper. "But what if I mess up? What if they laugh even harder?" Jake placed a firm hand on Ethan's shoulder, warmth spreading through the chill in his bones. "Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is just show up. Your voice, your story, it matters more than their jokes." Ethan swallowed hard, the weight of years spent hiding slowly lifting as Jake's words sank in. Around them, the schoolyard buzz dimmed, replaced by a quiet space where fear began to loosen its grip. For the first time, Ethan felt seen, not as a target or a joke, but as someone worthy of belief. Jake smiled gently, offering a nod that carried more hope than any speech ever could. "Let's get you ready. I'll be right there with you." Ethan's eyes met his, a spark igniting, small but fierce, ready to break free and fill the silence with something real. Ethan's footsteps echoed softly down the quiet hallway, the hum of the empty school wrapping around him like a gentle reminder that this moment was his alone. Jake walked beside him, calm and steady, a silent anchor in the swirling storm of doubt inside the boy's mind. In the stillness, Ethan thought back to all the times he had hidden away, convinced his voice was too small, too broken to carry meaning. Yet now, with each step, there was a new sense of possibility, a fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. Jake's calm presence seemed to whisper without words. Courage wasn't about being loud or perfect. It was about showing up, even when fear tried to hold you back. And that quiet strength was already inside Ethan, waiting patiently to be discovered. As the door to the auditorium creaked open, Ethan took a deep breath, the air filling his lungs like a promise. Whatever happened next, this moment marked the first chapter of a new story, one where his voice could finally be heard, not as a joke, but as a truth worth sharing. In that peaceful pause before the spotlight, Ethan realized something simple but powerful. Sometimes, the greatest courage comes from facing your fears quietly, with steady steps and an open heart. The soft glow of the stage lights bathed Ethan in a warm embrace as he stepped forward, every heartbeat syncing with the gentle rhythm of hope growing inside him. This was more than just a moment to sing. It was a chance to rewrite his story, to turn pain into power and silence into song. He glanced at Jake, who gave him a nod of encouragement, a silent reminder that he wasn't alone. The room, once filled with doubt and whispers, now held its breath, ready to witness something unexpected, something real. With a steady voice, Ethan began to sing. The notes rose, trembling at first, then gaining strength, filling the space with a light that seemed to touch every corner of the room. Each word was a step forward, a victory over the fear that had tried to hold him back for so long. In that moment, the laughter faded, replaced by awe and silence, the kind of silence that speaks louder than words. Ethan's song wasn't just heard. It was felt deep in the hearts of everyone listening, a reminder that even the smallest voice can create the biggest change. As the final note lingered in the air, Ethan smiled, knowing this was only the beginning. Hope wasn't just a dream anymore. It was a reality he had made real with courage, love, and the belief that every voice matters. The melody wove through the air like a gentle breeze, soft yet unyielding, carrying with it the whispers of dreams, long held close to the heart, each note a fragile petal unfolding in the sunlight, revealing colors of courage painted in shades of hope. Ethan's voice danced between shadows and light, a river flowing steadily toward a horizon unseen but deeply felt. The room seemed to breathe with him, every silence between the words filled with unspoken promises and the quiet strength of a soul unbroken. The song was a tapestry of emotion, stitched with threads of longing and grace, echoing the silent prayers of every forgotten child yearning to be seen and heard. In that moment, the music became more than sound. It became a language of healing, a balm for wounds invisible to the eye. As the final note drifted softly like a feather settling on the breeze, the world held its breath, suspended in the fragile beauty of a voice that dared to soar. And in that stillness, hearts opened, touched, transformed, and forever changed. Ethan wiped a nervous sweat from his brow, his eyes locking briefly with his dad's. In that glance, there was a silent exchange, a mixture of vulnerability, trust, and an unspoken promise that no matter what, he wasn't alone. The room, once filled with whispers and doubt, now felt like a warm embrace, holding Ethan gently as if it understood the weight he carried inside. His breath came a little easier, his heart a little lighter. Every word he sang wasn't just for the audience. It was for himself, a quiet declaration that his story mattered, that his voice could break through the walls built by fear and loneliness. Behind him, his dad's steady presence was a beacon, a reminder that sometimes the greatest strength lies in simply being seen and loved without conditions. And in that small, tender moment, Ethan found something precious, a spark of courage, enough to keep singing long after the last note had faded away. The last note hung in the air, trembling like a fragile leaf caught in a gentle breeze. Ethan's voice, raw and unguarded, carried the weight of every silent tear, every moment of doubt, and every whispered prayer. The room had fallen utterly still. No whispers, no shifting feet, only the fragile echo of a boy who had dared to dream beyond the pain. It was more than just a performance. It was a breakthrough, a quiet rebellion against the shadows that had clung to him for so long. In that suspended moment, Ethan wasn't just a boy singing, he was a beacon of hope, shining softly but undeniably bright. Across the room, his father's chest rose and fell with a breath held for years, emotions spilling silently through his eyes. He saw the boy he had protected, the boy he had believed in even when the world had not, standing tall in the glow of his own light. The applause began slowly at first, like a gentle wave building strength, until it swept through the crowd in a tide of admiration and awe. Faces softened, hands clapped with newfound respect, and hearts opened just a little wider. For a moment, the world seemed kinder, more forgiving, reminding everyone that beneath every struggle lies a story worth hearing and a soul worth believing in. Ethan's fingers trembled as he reached for his father's hand, their eyes meeting in a silent exchange full of unspoken promises. He could feel the warmth, the steadfast love that had carried him through his darkest days. In that touch was a reassurance that no matter what happened next, they were no longer alone, no longer just a boy mocked or a father helpless. They were a team, bound by unbreakable threads of hope and courage, ready to face whatever the future held. It was a beginning, not an end, a chance to rewrite the story that life had almost taken away. Outside the school walls, the sun dipped low, casting golden light across the world like a benediction. Ethan's voice, though now quiet, continued to echo in the hearts of those who had listened, a soft reminder that even the smallest voices have power. And as they walked home together, father and son, the weight of yesterday's fears seemed to lift, replaced by a fragile, glowing confidence. The journey ahead was still uncertain, but one thing was clear. Through music, love, and belief, healing had begun. And with it, a new chapter of endless possibilities. And in the quiet that followed, Ethan whispered to himself, "This is only the start." Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply to be heard. And in that truth, he found his wings. Everyone at some point in their life faces moments when they lose faith in themselves, when finding a way through the darkness feels impossible. Ethan's story isn't just about one boy. It's about anyone who has ever hidden their voice, who has ever thought they weren't enough. But this story reminds us that even the smallest hope can become a light in the darkest times. When we find the courage to understand our pain and express our feelings, true change begins. Ethan showed us that every voice, no matter how quiet, has the power to change the world. And most importantly, having someone who truly believes in you gives you the strength to face any challenge. If you've ever been afraid to let your voice be heard, remember, your story, your voice, can be the hope someone else needs. Never give up on your dreams, because every darkness makes room for its own light. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to smash that thumbs up and hit subscribe for more unforgettable, emotional, and viral true stories. We want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell us, where in the world are you watching from?